So let's focus on the issues in Parliament and to provide some perspectives on the issues that have happened so far in Parliament, including the protests on Friday by the minority group in relation to the Ablekuma North and other issues, as well as the Appointments Committee's work. We've been joined in studio by someone who knows our Parliament so well, Dr. Rasheed Draman. He is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. He's joining us. Hello, welcome to ChannelOne Newsroom.
Thank you for having me.
We didn't see that coming, that the minority group, considering the size, it may not be able to hold Parliament to ransom. But we saw that happening Friday. I don't know, what do you make of that it held the House to ransom?
Well, I think it was quite interesting. And watching that, I started asking myself whether we now have a very strong minority and a weak majority, despite the huge numbers that they had. We saw that on the very first day of this 9th Parliament. You remember when the election of the Right Honourable Speaker was taking place, when the minority leader was prevented from breaking their own rules. They pulled out the same strategy, started singing their anthem, making noise just to disrupt the procedure in Parliament. And we saw a repetition of that yesterday, and they succeeded indeed in getting the Right Honourable Speaker to suspend sitting. And I was sitting there in my office thinking, do we now have a majority that is weak and a minority that is strong? That was a question I was asking myself. Another question maybe you could want to ask also is, or you have a majority that wants to be tolerant and accommodating. Could that also be an option? Perhaps that might be an option, especially because also I believe that was the first baptism for Honorable Mahama Ayarga, just having assumed his position the day before, and now he was faced with this. He had promised in his maiden remarks that he was going to be a leader who would give space to the minority. He wasn't going to be somebody who was going to emasculate the minority and so on. So perhaps we saw that in display. How long that can go, how much elasticity there is in his level of tolerance. I think that's only time that would tell us. But Umar, one thing that worried me yesterday when I was watching that was, what happened for 4 years when some of us said our Parliament was not properly constituted, because there were some of our compatriots who were not represented in the House. And for 4 years, we didn't see the NDC. And in fact, they were very well positioned because they could hold government business to ransom in the 8th Parliament than the NDC, MPP can do in this 9th Parliament. But we didn't see any of that. Was that a weak strategy? Was that bad on their part? That they didn't speak for the same issue that is being spoken by the MPP? So I think...
so you think they've not been as aggressive as the MPP has been aggressive?
They have not been. Because you see, given the numbers that they have, I believe that they have lined up a number of strategies, including this one, because a walkout in this 9th Parliament is not going to achieve very much, because quorum could still be, that is if Honorable Mahama Ayarga is able to mobilize his troops, because yesterday he kept being reminded, look at your back.
There was nobody there.
There was nobody there.
Which is strange for 180 plus.
Which is very bad, Sanda. Okay. Very bad.
Let me let you hold your thought there. I want to do one story and come back to you, because there are a lot of issues we have to deal with in Parliament now. We have a new leadership on the majority side. Even the speakership, so that the first deputy speaker is also new. How he has been handling the Appointments Committee, which he is by the standing orders enjoined to chair. I'll talk to Dr. Rasheed Draman about that. But before then, so all eyes will be on the House of Parliament, which actually is our focus again on tonight's edition of the ChannelOne Newsroom. And I'm here with Dr. Rasheed Draman. So that anti-LGBTQ bill is one of many things we should be expecting, whether or not to be laid in this Parliament. I don't know what you think, and I don't know where this current majority what they'll be doing, considering that 7 of their MPs were part of the 8 that sponsored the bill in the beginning?
Well, I mean, one would expect. Of course, it died with the 8th Parliament, as, I mean, have all the bills that were before the House, I mean, before the dissolution. I don't know whether anything has changed. Now that some of them are in government, especially some of the lead sponsors, Honorable Sam George and the rest, now they are part of the executive. I don't know what they are going to be seeing, whether they will see something different from what they were seeing when they were in the minority, because when you are not in government, I think I mean, your rhetoric is completely different from when you are in government. And many have also said that right now it looks like the position of His Excellency the President is beginning to change, because he said I will sign the bill, and now I think we are hearing a lot of things that are different. So it remains to be seen, but one would expect that if that was their position in the 8th Parliament, the Speaker was also strongly for it. They are all there in the 9th Parliament. Fortunately, at least most of them made it to the 9th Parliament.
They should be able to pass it under a certificate of urgency.
Exactly. I mean, if they want to pass it tomorrow,
they can do that.
They can do that, because now they have the numbers. All of them are back there. The Right Honourable Speaker is still the Speaker. So let's hear what they are going to tell us.
If they really want to do, they can do.
I mean, if they backtrack, I think that would be, I mean, I'm not advocating for it, neither am I saying anything different. I'm just looking at the parliamentary processes. If they do backtrack, that would be a failed promise to their constituents, because at the time they said their constituents wanted the bill.
Okay, let's remain with the type of parliament we have. The 8th Parliament was 137 apiece. We saw the complexities that arose. We have a huge majority for the NDC now.
Super majority.
Super majority, making nonsense of the existence of the minority. And I've said somewhere that they are as good as a public gallery, you know. But we've seen them showing their strength by, first of all, what they did on Friday. What challenge do you reckon this majority side, and for that matter, the new leadership, is faced with Ayariga and his team? What should they be expecting in the next 4 years?
You know, what I'm beginning to see is that the minority is really organizing itself very, very fast, because they know they are weak in terms of numbers. But I believe they don't want to show any weakness in terms of their ability to mount a very credible kind of opposition and to provide, if you like, you know, right now they are our hope. Because with this supermajority, especially with what we are beginning to see, most of them are not showing up and so on, and most of them are not happy because of their appointments. We are going to see a situation where either they are not too interested in coming to Parliament, or if they are, I mean, perhaps they will not be bothered about what's going to happen there. So our hope is really on this minority. And it doesn't matter. I believe the numbers really will not matter, because at the end of the day, when you have a supermajority in a parliamentary democracy, a minority's kind of ability to provide oversight, as we have seen in many countries, is when they have the citizenry behind them. And I can see the strategy of this minority group is to get the citizens of Ghana behind them. And the least opportunity that they get, if you listen to Honorable, the former spokesperson for His Excellency the Vice President,
Dr. Gideon Bwako,
when he got the chance during the confirmation approval of the motion to approve Honorable Atuforsen, you saw that he went back to some of what Atuforsen did when he was deputy minister, some of the loans that they took, the conditions, and so on. Actually, yet that was not really related to the subject.
There's a good point for me to quickly ask you about the appointments committee. We have a new appointments committee with a new chairman. There are many people who think that the questions coming out from there have been below par. What's your view, quickly?
Yes, indeed, Sanda. I think, you know, we've been calling for a situation where we would have, if you like, subject matter committees looking at, nominees that are going to specific sectors. Because you see, if you watch them, on a single day, they go from roads and highways to education, to health, and so on. I mean, I don't think the people who are in that 11-member committee have all the knowledge and the skill. And if you look at it, the whole process is being rushed, because ordinarily the committee should, sit down, do a lot of research, or have the backroom people do a lot of research, provide them with, if you like, the key issues in the sector. But
you don't seem to be seeing that.
We don't seem to be seeing that. And then they go, first of all, the minority, when they get a chance, either, because they are not really very well prepared about the issues in the sector, they go off tangent, start talking about issues that are not related to what they are. And then the majority side, they sit down with kids' gloves.
Do praise singing.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. The competence of the chairman, considering the back and forth and the seeming bullying he's receiving from the minority leader, does he look cut out for the job?
I think he really is. My reading of his approach is just like what I said about Honorable Mama Yerga. They don't want to come across, because of their numbers, they want to shut the minority completely. So they are giving them some room and some space to operate. But I think the minority group would also have to think about this very carefully, because you don't want to get to a point where the chair begins to crack the whip. And I think maybe the way to get out of this is for the two leaders are in that committee, because the minority leader is there, the chair is the first deputy speaker, and they are part of the leadership of parliament.
Yeah.
I believe a lot of backroom conversations would have to take place.
Very well.
Because you don't want a situation where the speaker is sitting there embarrassing the leader of the opposition. But I don't know how far and how much that can be tolerated. So the minority leader would also have to look at maybe his style and his approach.
Very well. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Rasheed Draman.
Thank you.
He is the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. This is Channel One Newsroom on Channel One Television.